This is the Lancer Locker Show on KYNT. Now, let's talk some Mount Marty University athletics with the coaches, as well as your host and the voice of Mount Marty University athletics, Tell Tanner.
Well, it's the 21st of October. We are really getting into the fall at this point, but you couldn't tell from the weather today. We hit 80 degrees, which is just wild. Man, it's been warm. We have been blessed with some great weather, and some of the players of Mount Marty University that are really taking advantage of the good weather we're having are the Mount Marty Cross Country teams, who are having some pretty good seasons. So we decided to speak this week with the cross country program, head coach Dan Fitzsimmons, and a couple of their best runners, a freshman in Joseph Cross, and then a senior in Logan Ferrari and Cross for cross country. That is just incredible. Two last names that are just synonymous with running or just moving fast in general, and it was great to have them in the booth. We spoke with all three of those guys a little earlier today for the Lancer Locker, and I'm glad we were able to get that in. They've got obviously quite a bit to do these days as well. They're in season, so it's hard to track down some of these guys. They move fast, so we had to get them in and get them out. But we spent quite a bit of time with them today, about almost a half hour total between those two guys and the head coach in Dan Fitzsimmons. So we're going to get to it real quick. We're going to go through a very quick week in review for Mount Marty Athletics and then go straight to it. For the cross-country teams, they had the last week off, but they don't have this week off. They have a busy schedule upcoming. To this week on Thursday, they've got the Mount Marty Cross Country Invitational. That'll be in Yankton. They're running Fox Run this Thursday in the afternoon. The Mount Marty football program, they were on the bye this week, so they did not play a game. The football program is 4-3 overall, 3-3 in conference, and they have Concordia University up next. That is their next game. This Saturday, 1 o'clock in Seward. Steve Toom and I myself will have the call of the action of that one right here in KYNT, KYNTV. Mount Marty volleyball on the year. They're 12-11 overall, 4-8 in conference. They are currently 9th in the GPAC ranking from this morning, so they are one game away, or about a half game out from being in that GPAC tournament. They've still got a chance to get it. They've got some big games coming up. They've got the Concordia on Wednesday evening down in Seward, 7:30. They go to Omaha to face the College of St. Mary next Wednesday. On the 2nd of November, they get Hastings at home, and then at Doane, November 5th, in Crete. Those are the final 4 games for the Lancers. They've got to win a couple of those and get their way into the tournament. For soccer, the soccer program's women's team is 4-9-1 overall. They are 1-7 in conference. They will be heading down to Fremont on Wednesday to face Midland. Concordia at home on Saturday, 1 o'clock. For the men, they're on the season. They are 1-6 in conference, 4-8-1 overall. They are same schedule. Midland Wednesday in Fremont, Concordia home Saturday, the second half of that doubleheader. That's your week in review of Lancer Athletics and some of the things going on. The golf teams finished up their seasons. We're hoping to speak with them a little later in the fall as well. We've got basketball now upcoming. Actually, basketball starts this week, which is just kind of crazy to think about. The men's basketball team, they're going to be playing on Friday versus Oak Hills Christian College here in Yankton, 7:30 p.m. The women's team is going to be playing the first game that evening starting at 5:30. Faith Baptist College will be the opponent. And then on Saturday, it'll be a men's only game versus Trinity Bible College at 4 p.m. So there are 3 home basketball games in Yankton this week. 2 of them Friday night and then 1 on Saturday evening as well. That's wild. It's basketball season already. But anyway, let's go ahead and take that break now on the Lancer Locker. We'll hear from a couple of our sponsors, and then we'll come back with Joseph Cross and Logan Ferrari, a couple athletes from the Mount Marty University Cross Country program. And then a little later in the show, we'll speak with the head coach in Dan Fitzsimmons. I'm Tell Tanner on the Lancer Locker. You're listening to 102.1 FM, AM 1450, KYNT, and KYNTV.
Attention homeowners, if you've been on the fence about selling, I'd love the opportunity to sit and visit with you. With low inventory, now would be a good time to call me, Deb Speck at Vision Real Estate. I'll provide you with a free market analysis and a no-pressure approach. Call me at 605-664-5555 to find out if now is the right time to make a move.
Beef, pork, seafood, poultry, and more. All at the Meat Lodge in Yankton. Get top quality meats at great prices. They have specialty items like lamb, brisket, mahi-mahi, crab legs, and lobster. They even have non-meat options like Dimmick cheese, pickled items, seasonings, and sauces. For your convenience, you can call and order curbside pickup or order online at meatlodge.com. The Meat Lodge in Yankton, on the way to the lake on Highway 52.
This is Jenny from Slumberland Furniture in Yankton. Looking for a refresh in your home? Want to change up your space? Take advantage of our free interior design service. We can help reimagine your room using new pieces that will work with what you currently have. At Slumberland, you'll find the best brand name furniture and quality mattresses with the best customer service possible. See us at 2401 Broadway in Yankton.
Did you know Sherco offers more than egg tarps? As an industry leader in construction, waste, and flatbed tarping systems, Sherco offers manual and electric tarp systems for not only grain trailers and grain carts, but also side dumps, end dumps, belly dumps, roll-offs, flatbeds, and more. To learn more, give us a call at 1-800-474-8756 or find us at Sherco.com. Demand the best, demand Sherco.
Taylor is living the Runza dream.
The Fry Life is the high life.
He's stacking up rewards on the Runza mobile app.
Points on points on points on points.
That's a lot of free food from Runza.
Yep, I'm headed there for lunch today.
Download the Runza mobile app to start getting rewards. Because Runza makes it all better.
Runza on Broadway by Menards in Yankton.
A big thank you from Mount Marty University to one of Yankton's greatest employers and friend of the community, Aztec. They're very proud to support the Mount Marty Lancers. The vision at Aztec is to build industry-changing solutions that create life-changing opportunities. And you can build a career with the group that's built to connect from rock to road. Click careers at aztecindustries.com. Best wishes, Mount Marty, from your friends at Aztec.
All right, back here on the Lancer Locker on KYNT, 102.1 FM, AM 1450. My name is Tal Tanners. We go now to the Mount Marty Cross Country team with two of the top runners, not only on the squad, but kind of in the GPAC itself, in Joseph Cross and Logan Ferrari. We've got a freshman and a senior for this program. First of all, thank you guys for joining me. Thanks for coming in the studio. I know it's probably your first time in our building, so thanks.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
So we're going to spend a couple minutes talking about the two of you, where you're from, how college is going, and kind of where you're going from here. So we'll start with the senior. Logan, you are from Ridge, New York, and you grew up on the same street that Dan Fitzsimmons grew up on, obviously, and not the same time, but the same place. So can you tell me about meeting him and that connection with your now head coach?
Yeah, so actually So I transferred here from a community college, and my coach at that college ran with Fitz in high school. So he reached out to him, and then my coach at the time, Coach French, he gave Fitz my number, and we started talking. I had a couple good phone calls with him, and I really liked his ideology towards training. So after a while, it took about a few months, but eventually I committed. I wanted to leave New York. And this was the best offer I thought I got. So,
at what point in that process of talking with Coach Fitzsimmons did the two of you realize that you grew up in the exact same place, basically? How far into it?
I think it took a while. I think it was like an hour within the phone call that he just happened to ask what town I was in, because our high school composed of like at least 5 towns.
Sure, yeah.
So he asked me what town I'm from, and I said Ridge, and he goes, "Oh, what street do you live on?" And eventually we figured it out.
That's pretty funny. So Ridge, New York, where in the state is that?
So Long Island is part of the island is a part of the city. So Queens and the Bronx, Queens and Brooklyn, sorry.
So pretty close to New York City.
Yeah, so we're about like an hour and a half away. All the way at the end of the island is the Hamptons. Mm-hmm. And so we're kind of like in the middle between the city and the Hamptons.
All right, cool. That's a pretty cool place to grow up. And then obviously you made the switch over to South Dakota. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but first let's switch over to Joe now. Joe, you are a freshman. You're out of Jefferson, South Dakota, so you're not from very far, especially compared with the other guy in this chair. So tell me about where you grew up in Jefferson and then come into Yankton.
So I grew up in Jefferson. We moved there in 2015 from Lincoln, Nebraska. Parents just got a different job, so we moved. And then I was like 2017. I guess I was I was going into middle school, and my dad really did not want me to play football, and so and I'd always been like good at running, but I wasn't really running a lot, so he had me go to these camps, and I was way younger than everyone else there, and so that's where I met Fitz, and then a few years later I went to another one with Fitz also, and then I kind of just senior year I kind of called up Fitz because he had given me an offer, and I hadn't looked at it at first, but then I really looked into it and realized that this is a great place to be, and that this is where I should be. And so I committed. Like, we shook on it, and then that was the story.
Yeah, you had it right there. So can you tell me about meeting him for the first time? I'm told that you guys met at a USD camp when he was at the University of South Dakota. You went to those camps growing up. You've obviously known him a long time. So tell me about going to those camps and what they're kind of like, being able to train with some of the D1 athletes and a bunch of other athletes from the area at those camps.
So training with them, I was only 11 years old, so it's kind of hard to keep up with them.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot of new things about them. And then when I went to another one, I was about 13, and I could keep up with them a little bit better. And I got to learn more things. I went to an indoor one as well in 2018, I think. And so, I learned a lot of things about like running, the philosophy, all that. And it just allowed me to expand my knowledge.
So at this point, do you think you're as fast as Coach Fitzsimmons now, or is he still got that edge on you? You still struggling to keep up?
Yeah, sometimes I struggle to keep up a little bit.
Okay, let's go back to Logan then, and we talk about Mount Marty itself. Coming to this place of South Dakota, not necessarily the decision, but tell me about what it's been like moving to South Dakota itself. You're from kind of New York City area, you're used to a heavy population, and then you come to South Dakota. What's that been like?
Honestly, it's not as different as I thought it would be. It's Long Island is weird. It's not necessarily more dense. There's just no in between. So like here you have, a good stretch of land in between each town, but Long Island is none of that. So the houses and everything are spaced out in a similar way. So it wasn't much of a cultural shock on that end. What was a culture shock was the people here are a lot different than the people in New York. I would say it's a lot more of a chill environment. In New York, whoever's the loudest is the one who talks. Here, everyone kind of takes turns. It was a bit of a culture shock in the beginning. I felt if it was really hard to adjust for the first maybe 6 months that I got here. But then after a while, I kind of got used to it.
One of the phrases you hear a lot in this area is Midwest nice. So from a New Yorker, is that a real thing? Have you noticed?
Oh, yes, 100%. And it can get annoying sometimes, too, because I don't know if this person actually likes me or they're just being nice.
It's one of those where, does this person know me? They're being very friendly, and I've never met them
and that's
before.
another thing, too. They people will wave to me in the hallway, and I'm like, I don't know this person.
Oh man, we'll go over to Joe again. Obviously, you're from the area, but not from Yankton. What do you think of the town itself? Are you kind of getting adjusted to living here at this point?
Yeah. So, I really like Yankton. I'm a big outdoors person, and there's a lot of outdoor stuff. There's a couple like rivers near here, and I think rivers are really cool. But we have those back home in Jefferson too. But here, there's more stuff to do plus those. And so it's kind of like a perfect middle because I grew up, like I was born in a large city. And so that was too much. And Jefferson was like not enough. like I didn't like having to drive into a city to get everything.
Yeah.
And so Yankton's nice in between the two.
Yeah, I can see that. So for fun, when you guys aren't running, what are some of the things that you end up doing for fun besides being obviously active and training?
We'll get together and I don't know, like my roommate and I will go play catch or something, or we'll like go to parks. We'll go to the beach.
Just like being outdoors.
Yeah, just being outdoors. Yeah.
And Logan?
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. Just messing around in nature. I really like the different terrain here. It's really interesting. Long Island is just flat
And you probably didn't get to kind of go out into the country much over there. It would have been a bit of a drive to really get away from people, I assume. So is that, am I on the right track there?
No, actually, it was the opposite.
Really?
There were trails by my house.
Oh, nice.
We were actually right next to a nature preserve that you could get lost in.
Okay.
So it was just flat and, pretty basic. Same trees,
Sounds like
no
it was a decent little suburb. It was far enough away from the cities that you didn't have to deal with New York City, but close enough that you could get there if you really wanted to, I suppose.
Yeah. Just really expensive.
Just really expensive.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe you. All right, let's talk a little bit more about training for cross country itself. One of the more difficult sports, especially when it comes to endurance. So let's go through your running, your training. How many miles would you say you guys are putting in a single week?
It's different for each of us and different parts of the season. I started out in the summer. I just started really slamming them in. I peaked at 109. And then I went down. And yeah, in 1 week, and then I went down. On average, it was about 70, and now we're kind of doing the same thing, except we're incorporating workouts in, so it's been a lot harder. But now we're starting to bring it down a little bit, around 50, 60.
Got to stay fresh for these GPAC meets coming up.
Yeah, and that's what I like about Fitz's training philosophy is that it's all for the long term. And a lot of the coaches I had in the past, a lot of the stuff they did was all just for the short term because they weren't invested in us in the long term. It was all just like my previous coach. He didn't even know if half his athletes were coming back the next year. So it was all about just getting them to run that one good meet, and then that was it.
Let's go over to Joe then. How many miles would you say you're putting in a week as a freshman as opposed to a senior?
I'm putting in like 80 miles a week right now. It's actually the most. My highest mileage weeks I've ever done, all 3 of them have been during the season. And one of them was the week of a meet. Crazy enough.
What was the mileage?
81.
81, wow.
It's a lot of running, but the workouts are hard, but they're always just doable enough that I don't I don't feel like I get incredibly anxious to go do a workout. And so I can run in the morning, I can go do the workout, and I could feel pretty good about myself, but it's not so much that I feel dead, but it's enough that I feel like I put a really good effort in. And every day is kind of like just keep putting the numbers in and know you're going to know what the end goal is of training.
So when you guys are out on these runs, do you have like running buddies? Do you have like groups that you go in, or is it kind of solo, you put in some headphones and go? Or does that kind of depend on the run?
A lot of times it's me and him. Or if I'm not feeling good, he's up ahead doing his own thing, and I'm back with some of the other guys, which happens a lot.
Yeah, all right. So when it comes to, let's talk future. Obviously, we've got different stages of life here in a senior and a freshman. So we'll start with the freshman. You just came to Mount Marty, obviously. Tell me about your major and long-term goals. You got a long time to decide it, but what do you want to do with your life?
So I'm majoring in accounting, and they say usually a good, I don't remember the percentages, but a good amount of people change their major when they get to college within the first month or so. And I don't see myself changing my major because I think accounting is just what I want to do. It's like the exact amount of, it's the right amount of math for me and the right amount of information finding. So it's like a good medium between too much reading and too much math. So I think so I'd like to be an accountant. So at some point I I'd probably go to graduate school and then sit in on the CPA exam.
Nice. And then we'll go over to Logan. You're a senior, but you still got another year left, so you're going to be a super senior, I believe. So tell me about your future plans. What's your major, and what are you trying to do?
Yeah, so currently I'm majoring in business. Between switching majors and transferring, that's why I'm having to do another year. My plan is to get my master's in international business, and then from there there's a lot of options. I'm looking to some schools in the UK right now where I can actually run track with no eligibility issues.
Yeah.
So that's a solid
and you get
option.
to go across the pond and see something new.
Yeah. So yeah, that's about it.
So, and you're wanting to do what is that future job you want?
I'm just gonna get a degree in international business and see what my options are. I'm still looking into it now, but there's a lot of options available with that.
And you've still got another year left, and then maybe some more school over in the UK, so plenty of time to figure that out. But it sounds like that's going to be fun moving forward. One more question for you, man. The last name, Ferrari. You were just born to be a track runner, apparently.
I guess.
What's going on here?
So in Italy, Ferrari is actually a really common last name.
Right.
But I actually do happen to be related to the guy Enzo Ferrari. He invented the Ferrari.
You're related,
yeah, distantly. It's like my great grandfather was sixth cousins with him or something.
Okay.
But it's the same. It's like the same house because in Italy they keep track of those things.
Right.
Like so, but yeah, it's not enough to get any sort of association, but it's cool to say.
My family's Irish, and I've got a family that goes back 1,000 years as well that I'm distantly related to. Not enough to get anything out of it, but it's cool, so I get it. That's kind of fun. Okay, well, that's pretty much going to do it for us today. I've pretty much got all my questions in, so thank you guys for coming and talking with me. Do you have any final message maybe for your families or for Lancer Nation in general? We'll start with Logan.
I would say to all potential recruits, this is a really good school, not just because of the academic and athletic opportunities, but I mean the team here is really close, especially the lacrosse team. I mean, I thought I was close to my team in high school, but this is nothing compared to that. I mean, I've never seen something like this in a team, so yeah, that's something that you may not get to see when you visit here, but trust me, this is a really cool team to be a part of. So.
And then Joe Cross, another last name that is perfect for cross country. Can you tell me a little bit about your family and a message for Lancer Nation or your family itself?
Yeah. So the last name Cross was probably something else. Either I think it was something else that's Irish, but they came over when Irish people weren't very accepted, so they changed the name.
Yep. My family too.
So yeah, that's where that last name originates from.
And do you have any message for Lancer Nation?
Anybody who sees our team and they only see us out on the course, I want people to know that we're a group of guys and girls who work really hard, but I think we have more fun than anyone else, and we put down plenty more time than people think on the surface. And I think anyone who wants to run here or wants to support us should, because we're a good group of people.
Well, thank you both for coming in to talk with me today. Good luck in your futures. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do the rest of the season, and then when you go to the indoor and outdoor track and field season. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Everyone loves something different about our buffet, which is good because buffet has something for everyone. This is Annie from Yankton Pizza Ranch. Come in and fill your plate with good food that makes you feel good inside. Don't see your favorite pizza on the buffet? Request it using Buffet Your Way. We'll make it, bake it, and give you the very first slice. Grab the country's best chicken paired with tasty sides and finish off with sweet cactus bread at Yankton Pizza Ranch.
Quit hitting the snooze button on your new career. Wake up to recently increased wages, day one benefits, and an employer who puts you first. Grind through the workday in your own specialty. Assembler, machine operator, material handler, or line operation tech. Don't mind working nights? Enjoy a pay differential of $2.35. Choose your shift and enjoy day one benefits. This isn't just a job, it's your future. Join us today. Find more information and apply now at parker.com.
Parker, engineering your success.
The Dakota Theater in Yankton is always in need of volunteers. There's something for everyone, such as being involved with shows on or off stage, selling concessions, greeting, ushering, cleaning before and after, cleaning the bathrooms, organizing, helping with the lights, the sound, the costumes, decorating, and more. The Dakota Theater in Yankton is so grateful for every volunteer. Theaters for everyone. For more information, go to dakotatheater.org or call 665-4711.
In they come and out they go. That's what's happening at Lewis and Clark Ford with our new 2024 Ford F-150s. I'm Brandon Tykrow. When we get in a newly designed 2024 F-150, they're not sticking around long. Buyers are loving the new engine options, the standard 12-inch display screen, heroic towing capacity, and a packaged version to fit every budget. Stop in and see why the 2024 Ford F-150 is the hottest truck on the market. Lewis and Clark Ford, 4th and Capitol, Yankton.
At Triple Time Rudy's, not only do you get top-notch fuel to keep you on the move, but it's a destination for delicious local treats. You'll find quality South Dakota products like Dimmick cheese and premium meats from the Kaler and Renner lockers. It's your community's pit stop for more than just fuel. Triple Time Rudy's supports schools and events and provides fuel discounts to Yankton's largest employers. For all your daily fill-ups and convenience needs, stop by Triple Time Rudy's at 17th and Broadway.
All right, back here on the Lancer Locker now with the head coach of the Mount Marty Cross Country and Track and Field programs in Dan Fitzsimmons from Yankton. From Yankton is Dan Fitzsimmons. And we'll disregard New York for a moment because you're from here, then you went to the University of South Dakota, and now back here. I always love talking about that with you. But once again, your journey. Can you walk me through your coaching journey and how you came here?
I had ties to Yankton right from the get-go. I started running in the 6th grade out on Long Island. Like Logan mentioned, the area we grew up in is beautiful. I mean, we're right by Grumman Aerospace, the Brookhaven National Lab, so a lot of forest trails. That part of Long Island between the Hamptons and us, the rich community and us, they kind of kept a barrier there, and that barrier just happened to be a lot of forest trails. So I grew up running on the trails. Our school actually dropped sports my freshman year, and so I was doing club football and then running cross country, and then when they reinstated the sports, I decided cross country was kind of my thing, and then I expanded that to track. My junior high coach, Dennis O'Neill, is a Yankton College grad. My high school coach, Tony Toro, is a Yankton College grad. And my first coach at the University of South Dakota, Dwayne Shope, is a Yankton College grad.
There you go.
And then sometime while I was at USD, I had the opportunity to meet John Nothice, who actually coached all three of them. And he was a native New Yorker originally. And he came back out to the Midwest. His wife was from Kansas, so he came out to the Midwest and got closer to home and took the Yankton job, and then eventually went to USD, and then eventually was at Yankton High School, and he was getting close to retiring, and he said, hey, why don't you see if you can get a teaching job in Yankton, and I'll step down from cross country and track, and maybe they'll let you have my position. And so that's kind of what led me to Yankton, and the rest is history.
Yeah, the rest is history. Now you're here. You took over for somebody I know you've known for a long time, and former head coach Rusty Fuller, and obviously you've known a lot of the coaches in the area a long time. So when it comes to this program and its trajectory of where it's going, cross country is a little different. Track and field in general is a little different than, say, football or basketball. It's harder for a general fan to see the progress of a team based on win-loss record. So can you tell me, for fans, of how they are able to tell this program is progressing?
Well, I think one of the things you can do is you kind of look and see what some of the athletes did in high school and then see where they're at now. And if their times are getting better, that's usually a pretty good indication that there's a good recipe going on. Cross country is more difficult because every course is different, and if you change up the courses from one year to the next, there's really nothing to compare it to. And you can't really compare it to the track because it's so different. We try and keep things very consistent. We try and run on a couple of courses that we know we're going to have on our schedule for years to come, so we can compare our performances from one year to the next. But even that's not foolproof because the weather could be different. It could be cool and the course could be nice and hard and you're going to run fast, or it could be sloppy and hot and you're not going to run fast. But the big thing is just, when you go to cross-country meets, we always tell our kids to run to win, then run to place. And if everything works out well, you'll probably get a good time. But if you just go out to run for time, very often you don't get any of those three. And so that's kind of been our philosophy. And so far, a lot of the kids have bought into it, and it's working quite well. Because I think roughly when we look at a lot of our meets we've gone to this year, a lot of our athletes have moved up the all-time rankings for Mount Marty. And we're just trying to establish a tradition. So, some of the meets we're going to now maybe weren't even in existence when they started the program.
Let's talk the two athletes that were in here today, Joe Cross and Logan Ferrari. They're still in the booth as we now talk about them, but can you tell me about these two guys and what addition they brought to the program?
Well, Logan, our story is so unique. I mean, once I found out that he and I grew up and went to the same high school and lived in the same town and actually lived on the same street, we had a connection there, and I said, well, I got to have this guy.
Yep.
And then, he was very talented. Unfortunately, COVID. He didn't get to enjoy a high school career like many athletes had the opportunity to, so he winds up going to community college and running for one of my old teammates. But he has a lot of talent, and he's got a lot of spit and vinegar. He's not somebody you want to take lightly, and at the same time, he's just scratching the surface of his potential. And so to hear that he wants to continue running is very encouraging for me, because I think his best years are still ahead of him.
And then go over to Joe.
And then Joe, Joe's hit the nail on the head. He came to those camps. He was the youngest guy there, and tried to have him do some of the stuff the other kids were doing. He spent a lot of time in the car with me a little bit, and we got to know each other, and we even had him try some different events. And then I'd see him maybe 2 years later, and then eventually I went and watched him run his senior year, and I'd been following him, and that young 11-year-old was now a grown man. And he was lighting the world on fire in South Dakota. And, we were just hoping he'd take a look our way. He did come and do a couple of workouts in our facility, when the weather turned sour. And then he gave me a call and said, hey, I was looking at another school. Is your offer still good? And I said, yeah, it is still good. And then we talked a little bit more. And then the next thing you knew, he came and visited and decided to come to Mount Marty. And, kind of got our leader right here in Logan, and we got our next leader right here in Joe, and now it's just a matter of trying to surround them with a lot of guys who will buy in and train with them, and right now we have those guys. But progress is slow in this sport. You kind of alluded to that. I mean, when you're in high school, you run a 5K. These guys are running 8K. And some kids who are state champions never get adjusted to running 8K. These guys have adjusted rather rapidly, and they're two of the better runners in the GPAC. They know it. We all know it. It's not a secret to us, but they have a good chance of qualifying for nationals. It's not going to be easy, but at least we're in the conversation, and there isn't anyone in the conference they haven't beaten. And at the same time, that doesn't guarantee you much, because you know how good the GPAC is, especially when it comes to cross country. But no, it should be an exciting next couple of weeks, and as long as we can stay healthy, we feel like we've got two athletes here that have a good chance of leading our program to not only our highest team finish, but maybe even have a couple of individual qualifiers.
And then the GPAC Cross Country Championship's going to be on Saturday, November 9th. But first, you've got the Mount Marty Cross Country Invitational this Thursday. So tell me about that meet and what all it takes to put that on.
So we moved the meet from Saturday to Thursday, largely because a lot of teams, they'd like to go to the state meet, and Nebraska has their state meet on Friday, and South Dakota has their state meet on Saturday. And the last 2 years with us hosting that meet, it's been very difficult to go see those state meets. And I thought maybe we'd get a little bit, better response.
Get a little bit of recruiting in.
Yeah, and we'd have some teams come in that would feel the same way. And at this point, it looks that way. Midland and Northwestern are two that are coming that we're excited about, because there just happen to be the two teams ranked ahead of us.
Oh, there you go.
So that'll bring some good GPAC competition. But we have 8 or 9 teams right now that I think have registered. Some teams are getting ready for conference, so they maybe won't bring full squads because their meet might be the following weekend on November 2nd. We have a little bit more time, so we'll try and run as tough as possible. But the course out at Fox Run, is a great course, great spectator course. We've been blessed the last 2 years with almost ideal weather. It's probably a little warm right now. We're hoping it'll cool off a little bit, but Coach Weebelhaus and I are going to head out and paint the course tomorrow and kind of get things organized, and then finish getting the course set up on Thursday. And we're going to have the meet at 4 o'clock and 4:40 with the women and men's race. And, hopefully we'll keep the weather nice, but not too hot, and be able to run some good times on that course.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you for coming in. Thank you for your time. The program looks like it's making some really great strides the last couple years, so congrats on that, and good luck the rest of the way.
No, thank you, and go Lancers.
Go Lancers.
I love 1919 root beer. It's the best over a big scoop of vanilla ice cream. My favorite is just ice cold 1919 poured over crunchy ice. It's so refreshing. It's the creamiest root beer ever.
1919 root beer is the perfect treat, brewed in small batches with only the finest ingredients. It's the creamiest, full-bodied, alcohol and caffeine-free draft root beer available. It's a taste tradition since, 1919.
Farming is hard work. Between managing crops, livestock, and equipment, there's not much time left to handle financing and loans. At Dakota Mac, we can help you do the heavy lifting when it comes to ag financing. Whether you're a full-time farmer, an investor, or a young and beginning farmer, we're here for you for all your ag lending needs. Let Dakota Mac help you work smarter, not harder.
Hi, it's Jeff Wolfgram from Dakota Mac. Call us at 800-682-4578 to learn how Dakota Mac products can work for you.
Small businesses are the backbone of our community. CoreTrust helps your business thrive with checking, online bill pay, small business loans, credit card processing, local approval and support for government grants and loans, investments to grow your hard-earned assets, and insurance to protect them. All from CoreTrust, the community bank that's right down the street and everywhere you want us to be. Visit CoreTrustBank.com today.
Member FDIC.
Conquer the day and reach new heights with Rise Fuel energy drinks. Rise Fuel is ready to help elevate your performance. Packed with essential vitamins and nutrients, Rise Fuel gives you the power to push harder, go faster, and perform better. Whether you're hitting the gym, the field, or the track, Rise Fuel has your back. Fuel your ambition and unleash your potential with Rise Fuel energy drinks. Rise to the challenge with Rise Fuel. Ignite your passion and dominate your game.
Hello, here's to welcoming moments, big and small, embracing the unexpected, savoring life. At Avera, our nationally recognized health system will be right here with you, ready for anything. We listen to your goals and help you achieve them with care and coverage. We'll move you forward through sickness and health and every milestone in between. Avera, moving health forward. Learn more at avera.org/forward.
All right, back here for the final time on the Lancer Locker. My name is Tel Tanner. We just had our talk with Mount Marty Cross Country athletes and coaches. Dan Fitzsimmons was the last in the booth. A little earlier today, obviously, we had Joseph Cross and Logan Ferrari. I enjoyed my talk with those two. They seem like they got some good heads on their shoulders, and that is a really fun situation there between Logan Ferrari and Dan Fitzsimmons. Growing up on the same street in New York, on Long Island, somehow finding each other, and both of them ending up in Yankton, South Dakota as head coach and athlete. That's pretty cool. That is a really, really unique story. So I'm glad we were able to get those two in the booth. Joseph Cross, a very, very good young man, a freshman just starting his career. So I'm going to be looking forward to seeing him and hopefully talking with him over the next couple of years on the Locker as well. Anyways, for today, that's about going to do it. Go over our upcoming schedule here for KYN-TV real quick. We have got some basketball this week once again. We've got men's and women's basketball Friday evening, 5:30 p.m. will be the start time. Women's game versus Faith Baptist College, and then Oak Hills Christian College Friday evening, also in Yankton, for men's basketball there. It'll be a doubleheader. We've got coverage on KYNT. And then Saturday, a men's only game. We'll also have coverage of that one versus Trinity Bible College on Saturday. In some of the other athletics around the league, the soccer programs have Midland on the road this Wednesday down in Fremont, Wednesday evening, and then they'll be at home for the final home games of the season versus Concordia. Make sure you go out for that one, 1 p.m. at Crane Youngworth Stadium. The volleyball team only has 4 games left in the season. They've still got a chance of making the postseason. They've got to win a couple of these. They're at Seward Concordia this Wednesday evening, 7:30. College of St. Mary, they are in Omaha facing them next Wednesday. And then there's 2 more games after that. Hastings at home on November 2nd for Senior Day, and then Doane in Crete on November 5th. That'll do it for the volleyball schedule. And then football upcoming this Saturday. They're at Concordia. We've got coverage of that one once again here on KYNT, KYNTV. 1 o'clock. Noon, we go live for pregame. Steve Toom and I have the call. That's going to do it for our show today. This has been the Lancer Locker. I'm Tell Tanner. I enjoyed Mount Marty Cross Country, track and field. I'm hoping we're going to speak with some basketball coaches and athletes the next couple weeks since that season's getting underway. We're going to work on scheduling that, and we'll be back with more. All right, that's going to do it for the show today. This has been the Lancer Locker on KYNT. Thanks.